So we'll call the Historic Preservation Committee regular meeting for December 16th to order. And would you like let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. Or should we roll call?
Roll call.
The roll call, sorry.
Okay.
Dan here.
Thank you. Lynn here.
Robert here.
Dan's here.
Anyone online there?
Tracy here.
Dan.
Thank you. Hi, Dan.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so did anyone have any changes for the agenda?
I have one, for the agenda, no. I make a motion to approve. Kelly, do you?
Yes, I'll second that.
And then any changes to the minutes?
I need
Sorry,
to vote.
sorry, everybody, vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any changes to the minutes?
We have a question.
Okay.
On page 4, I believe. Yes. Robert asked how feasible it would be to create no, not that one. Where was it? Page 5. Robert suggested that the 4 to 5 trees in front of 292 Main Street. Yep. What about it? Where is that? I mean, to me, it's the Purple House.
It's on the corner, this corner right here, across from
Bobby May's place.
But that's not for
This
292.
this side of Main Street across from
292 is the Purple House that Darren recently. Side is odd numbers, so can we find the correct address for that?
No, that's what he said in the meeting. That will be what's in it. Yep.
I thought it would be that one, because that one's got big trees.
Yeah.
The 292s.
Yeah, I didn't say the street number, I just said that one that has the 4 trees.
Somebody suggested 292 because I wouldn't have put it in the minutes otherwise.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think what we decided was that the trees should be a separate tree ordinance, not a historic preservation ordinance.
Correct.
Okay, other than that, any other comments on the minutes or motion to approve? Hearing none.
What need to make a motion? I'll make a motion.
Usually,
November 18th, 2025.
I'll second that. Okay, and
all in
then
favor?
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any declarations of conflicts of interest for tonight?
No.
No. Is there anyone in the public to comment?
No, no one online.
And any special presentations? Any business items?
Yep.
So we are on to our discussion direction items, the historic resource survey update.
Yes, we have Ron Sladek online. We wanted to get this second draft in front of you for the survey report. Ron added about 30 pages of description to the survey. And so we just wanted to kind of get each subsequent draft in front of you so that any comments you may have can be taken under advisement as we move forward to the final product within the next few months.
So do you want comments from us first, or is he gonna?
Ron, do you have anything to add to that, or did you want to jump into the commission giving comments?
Well, I would just briefly say that you could see in front of you that the document has been substantially expanded since you last saw it, as Madison mentioned. And what I'm still working on are just a couple of sections, primarily one of which is to try to produce a substantial history of the development of the town. As I mentioned the last couple times we've met, there's never been a really solid history of Minturn written. And so my goal here is in all of these studies, reconnaissance survey reports and intensive level survey reports, it's required that I produce a historic context. So that detailed developmental history of the community serves as a basis for our understanding of how Minturn and any other community got its start and how it's developed since then and why it looks the way it does today. and underscores what's still there today. So in order to produce that, I've had to go through, I say hundreds, but it's probably, I'm sure it's been thousands of newspaper articles. And I'm still continuing to do that to tease out that information that tells us when all kinds of things occurred in terms of the development of Minturn. And it's producing a much more detailed look at how the town originated than I have ever seen. Maybe you've seen something like this, but I certainly haven't. Certainly haven't found anything in that detail. So I'm going to continue working on that and expanding it into the middle of the 20th century so that you've got that full context available. And it's all footnoted, so the information, sources are right there in terms of where I'm drawing all that information from. And then on the last page of text, which is right before the appendix, we've got the last several pages. There's that on 59, starting there, it's notes on historic architecture, and then the conclusion, which is the priorities for future survey. That part, I just simply ran out of time before I had to get it out the door on Friday, or else I would have had a bunch more writing in there. So I'll be expanding that section on priorities for future survey for you for the next draft that you're going to see. So that's really all I have, but I'd love to hear from you guys. I know you haven't had a long time to read through the thing, but if you have any comments or offer or direction to offer, I'd love to take some notes and get that information from you.
I'll chime in.
Oh,
This is Tracy. Ron, you outdid yourself. It's fantastic and so readable. It's just fascinating, and I'm so grateful that you did this deep dive. I mean, I looked at your bibliography. I mean, this is really wonderful. I'm just floored. Thank you so much for doing this, and just so readable and interesting and new. And I can't wait to share it with my history teacher friends tomorrow.
That's great to hear. I think that this is going to get you a lot of mileage out of that history section. What you guys are, I usually don't have to write this detailed of a history, but in this case I do, because I've got to get us there where we can really understand how the town developed. So I'm putting a lot more time into that section than I usually do on any of my other reports. You're basically getting the state to pay for much of my time in this case to produce that for you, and you're going to get a lot of mileage out of this. I really appreciate your comments, Tracy. Thank you so much, because I like to try to get to the heart of the story of what makes a community special. And that story is there from Intern, and I hope it's starting to take shape. I feel like it is. We've got a little ways to go, but I think people will enjoy seeing this, and I hope you find all kinds of ways of making use of this story. I mean, as I've been writing it, I keep thinking, my gosh, I mean, we could actually extract this from the report and publish a little booklet or something about the history of the town.
that
I
was
think
my
too, it will make so much make it so much easier to get people, as we've been talking about our outreach, because it's exciting and it's interesting and it's it's compelling. And so I think this is just much more valuable than just to preserve some buildings and structures. I think this is, like you said, this will open up lots of doors and kind of just preserving our whole town and its legacy, So thank you again. Wonderful.
My feeling is always, whenever I go into any project, that if you can't tell, and this is my mantra I've been operating by for more than 30 years, if you can't develop a good story about a building or about a town or about a neighborhood, you're not going to fire anybody up to get interested in preserving anything. So to me, the storytelling is the single most important key to unlocking interest in any historic building or any neighborhood or the Old Town character area in Minturn. There has to be a good story there, and that's the hook that gets people interested. So that's what I'm striving for.
Well, thank you. This history is really thorough and very, very edifying. So thank you for the time you put into it. And it sounds like it's maybe a little bit more than you had commissioned it for, but we really appreciate the time and effort you're putting into it.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. It makes it all worth it to hear those kinds of comments.
Well, to me, it's, yeah, what gets, like you're saying, it gets you excited about it. And there's a book about Holy Cross City that I bought, I think, 3 times, and I keep giving it out. And I bought a copy last year, and written in the 60s, and I have no idea who I gave it to again. So it might be the 4th time I buy this book, but it's just like every time I hike up there and there's only like 2 or 3 buildings left. But it's, to me, the stories that I heard and read in the book, it, puts you in that place. And so having the history written down instead of just kind of what you've heard from neighbors,
Yeah.
I think will be very important. And I think in the past, the only thing anyone had to go by was whatever Andy wrote on the back of the old saloon menu. He had like a paragraph on the history and important dates.
Yeah. And by the way, this is,
That's
this
like
is
all we
gonna,
had.
this ties in with, with Bill Burnett's, with his book. So this, you're going to start seeing as I get into the 20s, because he was born in 1920. And so his memories, his personal memories are going to start, mid to late 20s on, in any reliable sense. And so as we get into with this narrative that I'm working on into that period from the 20s on, you're going to see it start connecting a little more closely with Bill Burnett's memoirs. And I'm not trying to duplicate what he's done, because his is an important work in its own right. But you'll see there's starting to be an interconnection between what he has to say in here and what all these other archival resources are saying about what was really taking place in town. He focuses a lot on the families, and that's also an important element of it.
Right, it's Lynn. I want to thank you also. I've read history about the area, Belden, Gilman, Redcliffe, and I read Bill Burnett's book, but nothing about like this. It was marvelous. And so I have 2 questions. You mentioned a book. I would love if we can somehow further discuss that in the future, because since you put it together, we're going to have to get your permission probably to do that. Also, is there anywhere way we can share this with the Eagle County Historical Society? Because I don't think they have anything in this depth either.
No, I think that this report that I'm producing ought to go to them. A copy of it should be sent.
Are you okay with that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
of course.
So I can get one down. If it's okay with you, I'll just get a copy, or do you
Do you want to wait for the final draft?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, let's do that. But it was marvelous. And this is a book I brought on Galena, Illinois. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's an amazing historical town. And this company does it on a lot of historical towns. And I brought that in just as an example, because maybe we can contact them and see if at the end, if somehow, and what it would cost and that kind of thing, if you're okay with that at that point.
Sure.
Because I think that would be something great we could sell with bills separate, even further back. I think that's how I got it. I just went into one of the stores and they had it there for the resort tourists. So, but I have one more request.
Sure.
And that is on page 37. The house is still identified as 151 Main. That should be 155 Main.
Yeah, let me go to that and correct that right now. Actually, let me open up my master
And
document.
before you give that to the Historical Colorado for submit it to them for them to go through it, I'd like to make sure that's made. The
Okay,
paragraph is
Ron, it's on page 26 of
his packet.
the actual document. It's on page 37 of our packet.
26. Okay.
Of yours.
Yeah, I'm just scrolling down to it. It's trying to open up the whole document. 1 second. I have to pause for a second for it to open up the full document. So I want to correct that right now. And I remember you mentioned something before and I
The
neglected.
paragraph defining it is correct, but it's under the picture of the house.
You said page 26?
26, once you start numbering,
Yeah.
I know you have like some intro pages at the beginning of the document that aren't numbering.
So
that
you mean
aren't-
page, does it say page 26 in the top right corner?
It does,
Yes.
yes.
Okay, and so we've got the Nelson House there.
Yes, the
Up there-
Nelson House of 150, there's the blue one and then there's the yellow one underneath.
Oh,
Right.
yes, I see. I
Five.
did that. I
Yes.
put 151 on the caption on the photo.
There were two brothers, and
Yeah.
their mom and dad lived across the street.
So the upper one, the blue one is 151. The other one below is 155.
Correct.
That's right.
Yeah, I
Correct.
just, for some reason, I labeled it wrong. Okay, I got that corrected.
Just
In-
so that
in
when it
Madison.
goes to them, it's,
Yeah, it's labeled
Correct.
correctly. Okay,
but thank you so much. I really, really, really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the rest of it.
I was going to
That's
ask you, did you guys know about that fire insurance map from 1937?
Man, I looked everywhere and I couldn't find one of those.
I was looking everywhere too, and I stumbled across it.
I found one for Red Cliff, and all their saloons, but I could not get one for Minturn.
Yeah, it was attached as an addendum to the Leadville maps. I was shocked when I found it. They had it at the Library of Congress.
Who would have ever have thought to connected those two though,
I know.
Good on you, man. You're just killing it.
So I'll make sure you guys get a copy of that. I'll send the digital. I have a JPEG and a TIFF version. I'll send that off to Madison here, not immediately, but shortly, and so you guys will have access to that because apparently that was the only map that was ever produced of Minturn, but it's really detailed.
Ooh.
In fact, if you want, I could share it with you right now on the screen.
Sure,
Just
you
for-
should be able to share your screen.
Yeah, just for a moment. We might as well let you see what it looks like.
I actually knew a lady back home. Her dad actually created the fire maps, because at first they would have like little cutouts of the buildings and stuff like that, like the way they did it. He was an architect.
Yeah.
And so he arranged the fire maps and stuff before they did the final copy, something like that.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Can you see that?
You zoom a little more.
Oh, yeah. So, well, here, we'll go to the 100, 200 blocks.
Oh, great. Wow.
And luckily, it's in the original color coding as well.
And what year would that have been produced?
That was 1937.
Here, my house was built.
Ooh, the dance hall. That's cool. The dance hall and movie.
Yeah, that was the Minturn Mercantile. That coloration on it tells you that it's a stone building. All the yellow is coded for wood frame. They did make a mistake on it with the YMCA because that's a brick building and they didn't color it the right color.
Hmm.
But
It wasn't a brick building originally, though.
it wasn't originally?
That's the one behind the saloon.
Hmm.
When I moved here, I don't believe that was brick.
Oh, really?
I can check into that for you, but I'm pretty sure when I moved here in 1983, I don't remember that being brick. Do you?
I know the upper floors were wood construction because I did work on that building.
It may be wood framed with a brick face on
I
it.
think, but I know for sure the brick is not originals. And I
Was
think
it stuccoed? It looks like it may have been stuccoed.
But I know, like I said, I've remodeled in that building before, and it was all wood studs.
They used to be
You're
called
right.
logs.
I'm looking at a historic photo of the building. It looks like it was wood frame with stucco on the exterior.
Yeah, it was not brick back then.
Okay.
And the nickname of that building when I moved here was the wrong side of the tracks.
Okay. Well, the building's been extensively modified.
Yes,
Yeah.
in and
So-
out.
Anyway, you can I think you guys will have a good time really looking at this map in detail.
That's awesome.
But I'll make sure you guys get it. There's the school, the lodge hall, right? The Masonic Lodge.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That building's still here.
Yes. And the street numbering was odd. It's nothing like what we do today, but you can figure out which building was which going down, and then it ends down here. But then there's an extension of it that continues on down to the south. That's patched in here, and then also this Denver Ice and Cold Storage Company facility.
Hmm.
And the passenger
That's
station.
on the rail yard, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's north of town.
That are just slid.
right.
And I do have a book on the ice house, and it does contain some of the original drawings for it.
Well, anyway, there you go.
Years ago, when I had my shop, a lady walked in one day, and it wasn't here, it wasn't in town. She rented a home, and a table was called The Gilded Age, and it was the story of Robert Minturn's daughter. And I had the bookworm find me a copy. I have not read it yet, but I'll try to get to that in case there's anything in there. They went to Rare Books and found it. But it was just because a customer walked in. I had never heard about it.
Okay.
But it is kind of ironic that he never was here. Just named after him.
I'd like to make a note for the record that Ken has joined the meeting.
Good evening, Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Hello, everyone. Sorry, was going to be away at a family event, but now I'm sick, so I just.
It is muted. There.
So my plan at this point is that I'm going to be continuing to work on finishing up the historical section. That's going to take a lot of work to get that done, just because I have to go through so many hundreds of articles. I've got some of that research done, but I have a ways to go. So I'll be working on that, and then once I finish that, I'll wrap up the last few sections in the document, especially toward the end, that need a little bit more analysis, and then I'll throw it back your direction, and then you guys can take a last look at it and give me any final comments of anything that you'd like to see changed or anything like that. Madison, we'll need to get this out to the State Historical Fund at some point too.
Okay.
So the question is when to do that. What is the deadline on the grant? Do you recall?
I think it's June of 26.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. So I think if we could get a draft out to them by, I mean, we could send them this one.
Okay,
And
I can
have them
certainly
take-
do that.
You can certainly send it to them and let them know that it says right in there that I'm still working on a couple sections,
Right.
but at least that would get them a preliminary look at it. And we can get some preliminary comments back from them. So why not?
I can do that.
Okay. Do you know who your contact is down there by any chance?
I email everything to Lindsay and
Oh, yeah.
some other lady that I cannot remember her name at this time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lindsay's the CLG grant coordinator. So yeah, that would be good. Be good to get that to her. Yeah, so if you want to plan to do that, that'd be great.
I can send that out tomorrow.
Okay. But please do add just a note on there saying that I'm well aware that there are a couple sections that are still being worked on, that
Of course, yes. I will
This-
not represent that this is a final draft at all.
yeah, this is like an 80% draft or whatever we want to call it.
And just to let y'all know, the list of 10 properties was approved by the state. So we're all good on that.
Right.
And I'll mention that in the document here in that final section.
Okay.
Ron, does it make sense to study buildings that don't exist anymore, like the Roundhouse?
No. I mean, outside of, if you were writing just a historical, like a book about the town, sure. But from the Historic Preservation Commission section, the focus typically always has to be on existing buildings. I think if you start looking at buildings that are gone, you've gone astray
Okay.
because it's just not practical to do anything about them as a commission.
Mhm.
Yeah. And certainly the state won't give you any funding for documenting buildings that are no longer there.
Can we get another grant
To
to
do,
continue with some of this?
yeah, I mean, we can always apply for a grant after this one's done to continue on throughout town.
To get more properties.
I mean, if we're thinking possibly of really trying to get it down as a historical book, we probably should do a little bit more.
Hmm.
I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, page 71 pages, and I was just like, holy cow. It's a lot of writing, a lot of work.
Yeah. Um, just as a side comment to your question that you just brought up, as you start thinking about future survey work, you'll have the reconnaissance done now. You don't have to go back and do that again. What you're going to be focusing on in the future will be intensive level surveys, like the one we're starting with the 10 properties that you've identified. So you want to look at continuing with that in the coming years, whether it's once every year, once every couple years, once every 4 years, whatever you decide you'd like to do. And I would advise you to be careful not to try to bite off too big of a chunk at one time. It's usually most practical to do 10 buildings in a survey or 20 buildings in a survey, maybe 25. Sometimes commissions get pretty eager and they decide, oh, let's document the whole Old Town character area as intensives, but that's a few hundred buildings, and the cost would be just pretty high to get that done, and it would take several years. So you want to be thinking about the practical nature of doing that in the form of kind of these modest size bites each time of somewhere, I'd say about 10 to 25 properties at a time, usually is a good range.
How large a grant would we need for 20 to 25 properties?
I can tell you the way I price things, the intensive level work. I tend to look at it's a lot of work to document an individual property. You're about to start seeing how much work I put into those as I start handing over those 10 properties we're going to be doing one by one. I usually use a multiplier of about $1,500 per property.
Okay.
But then at the end, I have to produce a project report. And so I usually add about another $4,000 or $5,000 for that project report. So just as a ballpark, kind of be thinking about something around 1,500 per property. And you can see that if you do 10 properties, it's going to be a big difference as if you try to take on 40 or 50, there's a huge cost difference. And you have to be thinking about, well, what can the town reasonably put up as a cash match in order to get a grant from the state?
Well, Ron, thanks so much for everything you've done for us, and we'll look forward to those 10 properties and the finishing up of this report.
You bet. I'll be launching into all that right after the first of the year, and working toward getting the report wrapped up and those 10 properties documented. I have to take a look and see if I have enough of what I need on hand to get those intensive level surveys done, or if I am going to need to do a few trips back up to your neck of the woods. So I may be back up there in January, February, March as I work on those 10 site forms. I'll let you know.
All right. Does anyone online have any questions for Ron before we close out on this subject?
No.
Hearing none, I guess we'll move along. Well, thanks again, Ron.
Thank you all too. It's been a pleasure.
Greatly
Awesome.
appreciate your work.
Thank you.
Awesome.
And again, thanks for the nice comments. That keeps me going.
Well, you
Okay.
deserve it for sure.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, on to discussion item B, historic preservation plan update. Madison.
So I don't know that this necessarily needs a lot of discussion. This is mainly just an update on where we're at on the goals and objectives in the 2022 Historic Preservation Plan. I gave an update to this similarly, I think a year ago. So you'll see that a lot of things are complete. I've labeled very clearly, at the end of each response, whether or not this is complete or this is what we are still working on it. Some of this stuff like education, things like that, that's going to be ongoing. That's never going to say this is complete. But wherever possible, we do try and have, actionable goals that can have steps with which to say, okay, we're done. Check that off the list. There are a few that still say this goal is ongoing, that can, again, some of them they will continue forever be ongoing, but some of them can have, I think, more concrete deadlines. But there's definitely a lot less this time than there were at the last report that I gave out on where we were at the 2022 preservation plan. Now our preservation plan doesn't have any set end date, not like the council strategic plan, which is only good for 2 years. But given that I think we have more goals that have been completed than that haven't, we might want to think not right now, but maybe, work throughout 2026 to draft an updated historic preservation plan with new goals so that we can kind of drop the goals that we've completed off and then obviously still maintain the goals that we're working on, and then add new ones so that we're not having this kind of stale plan that we can just say, like, it's great that we can point to this and say, yep, that's done, but okay, that was done 2 years ago, so work on something else. So if you'd like, I can certainly go through each goal and objective one by one and give the staff response, but it was there in your packet for you to read. And I'm really just available for
I think
questions.
you did a really lovely job of summarizing where we are with each item. Is there, of the ongoing ones, is there one in particular that you feel like we need to focus on getting accomplished?
So the objective 2.1, collaborate with third-party organizations to celebrate Minturns history. I know Lynn has been super awesome about going out and talking with Eagle County Historical Society. I do think that that's something that maybe we can try and officialize. That's not a word, but I'm blanking on what the actual word would be. Just essentially kind of make the collaboration between our two entities potentially more official. Maybe we can have our logo represented with them. Once we're done with the survey, we can share that with them for them to have in their library. Maybe we can host some of their stuff on our website, their events, etc. Just to kind of make that more official. And at that point, I think, we can check that objective off. Something like that.
Great.
I would like to see those brass plaques get done as soon as possible. I think that's a thank you to the people who said yes. And I think that would make them very happy. I made a list of some things to talk about for summer, not that we have to do that tonight, but it said in their ideas. So my first was Canvas, we published this book. We've got a pretty good positive idea about that. Getting the pamphlet done for that board downtown for a walking tour, self-walking.
You're working with Cindy on that, right?
Well, she was, but I think she's a bit busy. She has so where she's at. I'd like us to think about having Colorado's Train Museum come up and do a talk like they did at Eagle. I think it would cost us probably $500 or $600, so I don't know if that's feasible. Brass plaques, walking tours, cemetery. I don't think Kathy wants to keep doing cemetery tours, but if she has the info, maybe we could pull it together to do it ourselves. I think that would be interesting because she's done it in here.
So it should be another pamphlet that's available at the gate or someone could do a tour.
She might be willing to do that.
That's the one I missed. It was the midterms. It was before I knew they existed, I think.
Can we get another grant? You answered that. I was thinking since we now have a date that the town, I don't know, the town may have had this, but October 12th, 1904 was the date. Maybe we do something like a birthday party event for Minturn for becoming incorporated and starting the start of the town. That might be a fun thing we could do in fall. Or even earlier in the season if we don't want to wait till October.
October 4th, you said?
1904 was when it was incorporated, but in his report, it said October 12th. It's in here, if you read that, that's when they finally got together and voted on incorporating it.
That'd be a good time to do.
That could be a fun thing to do. We could get the businesses involved somehow, that people tour them, the historical buildings and.
Because that I shared many years ago with Michelle the concept of kind of doing a community picnic, which kind of was a little bit of turned into a concert, and for the end of the summer season. But in Crested Butte, they basically close off Main Street to the public, which I know we can't do, but Pine Street we could, and they line it with tables, decorate it, and have a dinner produced by some of the restaurant chefs, and you bring your own silverware, and they turn it into a whole weekend of festivities celebrating the change of the seasons and community. And
Buena Vista does it, and they don't do it on the main highway, they do it in their downtown area. So like even if you went from here to the end of this block for the size of our town, that might work. You might get double tables set up, no cars. Cool. But they have a fun one with that. And then each group of people take a table and then I think it's like a potluck, isn't it, for each table?
Well, it's a buffet, so their thing is for no waste and no cleanup, that you bring your own plate and your own glass and your own silverware, which is kind of fun. And you just pick a plate. The town provides tables down Main Street and chairs, and that's about it. And you just go up, get your food, sit anywhere you want. And there's no band or music, but it's just a community event to get everyone, and all the shops decorate with fall leaves, and you can decorate yourself kind of in old costumes. But it was Crested Buttes. It's called Vintalk, and it was just so much fun to do and I wasn't even part of the community, but friends of mine were. So
We have some good Western music. What music did they play in 1904?
What did the railroad workers listen to?
Is it big band stuff, maybe?
47. Big band music was 30s and 40s. It had to be earlier than that, but we could probably.
We had swing music in the 20s.
Swing music in the 20s, yeah.
And then before that, I'm not sure.
Somebody might have some idea. I bet we can figure that out. We can direct your computer voice, the lady you always ask, what music did they play in 1904? Maybe she can come up with it. The other thing, and if I can have a minute, did you all read it?
Yeah, I did that one.
Yeah.
I thought that was quite interesting. Who could I call up there to find out how this is going?
Call Redcliffe?
Yeah.
Melissa Matthews.
Who?
Melissa Matthews,
Listen, Matthew.
town manager. She's the only full-time employee that I know of.
And the only reason I was saying that is because there is one or two buildings in this town that if we were able to do something like that, we might be able to make a little museum. Is what I was thinking.
Well, the thing about that is it's obviously owned by the town, but
It's already owned by the town. Exactly. And it's gonna cost that much and more to fix it. I know.
when I was I've been all through that building, and it's basically, it just has like the old fire department stuff, the old uniforms still, and one of the old wheeled carriages, the horse drawn, actually it's human drawn hose wheels is still in there, that Eagle River supposedly was supposed to restore, but I don't think they ever did. But
Talk to her about how they're going about it and whether if it's working.
and the old jails behind it too.
I mean, I'm willing to donate to it if I know the money goes to that. If they don't get enough money, then what happens to the money you've donated? That's my question.
And then the last I Or was it in the article they were talking about the roof? It used to be a flat building, and now that was what they're having issues with.
They put a gable on it, so
Yeah.
it's water off.
Yeah. But kind of like we were talking about earlier, a couple of years ago, it's a lot of times it's not always the original shape of the building, but a significant time in history that people remember is more important to
Right.
the Historic Society versus the original building. And that's what I told Redcliffe, is that's the route to go on that.
And they're getting part of it as grant, but there again, they own the building, so they can do them.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so we kind of strayed from historic preservation plan update
Thanks.
and into the summer events, which is fine. I've taken notes. But is there any questions on historic preservation plan update, comments, etc., before we officially move on to the next agenda item?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Anyone online?
Nope.
Okay.
And then,
Events?
so we're into the summer events. Anyone else have comments about summer events?
I do not.
Hearing none, then on to the staff report.
Well, actually, I'm sorry. Can I interrupt?
Sure.
Sorry, Tracy here. Lynn, you had talked about maybe doing fundraiser, so that could be a summer event. I don't know if you got my telephone message, but I
Well,
responded.
I think I'm going to continue if it's allowed with the market in the summer. On the weekends I can do it. It'd be nice to find somebody to do it a couple other weekends so we could cover all the market weekends. And do it that way as much as we possibly can. I don't know. I mean, Cindy's got a flyer down here in the hall, a poster put out with the QR code that people who read it can use the QR code to do it. Marco's going to have that poster QR code in his store, I believe. I haven't been in there because it's been closed quite a bit, but I'll go in and talk to him and check. I know he was out of country for a while, so I'll go and check with him. But if we could get that poster up into some of the other businesses too, that would be great.
Or all of them.
Or all of them, yes. Depends on how they look at historical preservation. Yeah.
Hey, can I throw something at you guys that we used back home to raise money?
Sure.
I don't know, like, dang it. So back home, I'm from Macon, 200 years it's been around, and we had Rose Hill Cemetery. And so there were pretty notable people in there. And what we would do is we would have nighttime lantern-led tours of the cemetery. And your guide, you would encounter different people who are buried in the cemetery as you went through. And so they would tell you their story as it is. And it was always really popular, but we had a lot to work with. I mean, we had the Civil War, the Allman Brothers are buried there. I mean, we had a lot to work with, but I don't know. People seem to enjoy it.
Well, that's what the Historic Society has previously done around before Halloween, is like, I think it was every other year they would pick one of the county's cemeteries and dress up in costume and tell the stories of some of the people there. But Lynn, sounds like they've kind of stopped that now.
She made a comment at one meeting that she would like to try to find some new things to do. That doesn't mean they wouldn't do it, but if they've pulled the information together and the characters that present it, and they weren't available, certainly you could be someone, I could be someone. We'd have fun with that.
So I was witness, I should say, to the one in Eagle and the one in Redcliffe, and both of them were really fascinating. And it was stories that I hadn't heard before, which was
a fun way to tell the story through theater.
Yeah.
Yeah, people enjoy it.
And then there's the Gypsum Cemetery. Does Fulford have its own cemetery? Because they were doing some things for the Fulford family, I know. So they've done a few, but I will not be going there much this winter unless the roads are open. But I will start again next spring. And I can talk to her.
All right, well, thanks for that suggestion. Okay, so no staff report. Any commission comments on top of what we've been talking about, or future agenda items?
Will we have a meeting in January?
At this time,
at this time?
I mean, if I don't have anything to put on it, I'm not having a meeting just to have a meeting. But if Ron gets more stuff done and wants to share with you, or if we get an application, or if something comes up, yes, we'll have a meeting.
We have to do a report once a year, is that?
That was submitted in October. We run on the state fiscal year. That was approved. We're all good. We remain a CLG for the next year.
Madison, thank you for everything.
Robert.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Ken. I just had one comment. I was just wondering if, excuse me, if anyone knows, because of the recent article about the building in Red Cliff, it dawned on me, does anybody know if Red Cliff has any interest in historic preservation and whether we could be a resource to them and all?
I talked to Melissa Matthews and I think maybe an intern she had. Maybe like 2 years ago. It was a while ago. About how we got started, the steering committee that we had of a lot of different residents, all the whole process we went through drafting our code. And I said I was available if they had any further questions, and I really haven't heard anything from them. I will say that Melissa Matthews, she is very busy. I think it's her, a public works guy, and maybe somebody who works part-time. So she runs that town, all of it. It comes to her. She is the town clerk. She is the I think she's partially the treasurer. I feel like the part-time person handles treasury stuff too. She's the town manager. She's involved in all the different things that Minturn is involved in regionally. So I do not believe that this has been at the top of her mind. Obviously I cannot speak to her. I just haven't heard anything from her since then.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
I have talked to a few residents that sound like there's some interest in it, especially because of the old town hall, which never really existed when I lived there. I was like the one person that was kind of interested in it, and everyone else was just filled with apathy. And
An amazing cemetery. I don't know about famous characters.
Well, they have.
It has that age. Ours is more updated. Theirs is really cool old things.
Better before all the trees died.
Okay.
And
they
they
have
get taken out.
they have a 2-room museum in the old school. Correct?
Yes, and that is fabulous.
Which is something would be great for us to do. And I'd like to find out when that's open, so I'll ask her that.
It's usually during business hours.
Any day of the week.
Yeah, when the manager's there.
Okay.
Usually have to ask for the key.
Oh, is she in that same building?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's in the old school.
Okay.
Upstairs, above her office. So, and that's kind of really one of the things that got me interested was seeing that room and all the artifacts. 30 years.
I remember that discussion vaguely at the last meeting.
Minutes. You were going to ask Michelle if you could, what happened to it?
Okay.
Because it was sitting right there.
Now we have a sewer pipe.
Now I have a sewer pipe.
How appropriate.
Yeah, I will text Michelle.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Well, I think that's it. Would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
Your turn, Kelly.
I'll second it.
I make a motion to adjourn. Number 16, 2025 HPC.
I'll second that.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for everyone on